Hey, what's going on, everybody? So back here at practice, it's the first one that we've been able to be at since the Appalachian State game. Very curious to see how this one works out. Definitely will be paying close attention to Cody Brown and Thad Franklin, the freshman running backs. They get elevated now that Don Chaney Jr. has been ruled out for the season. I expect Cody to get that first snap amongst those two guys, but we'll see how they look in practice. Also, very curious to see how Avery Huff looks today. Many of you have been curious about where's Avery Huff, why isn't he on the field? And look, there's been guys in front of him. They really want him to make sure that he understands what to do out there in the playbook. I think you're going to see a lot of energy from practice from him today and this week as he looks to either get an elevated role or earn that starting job on Saturday against Michigan State. Definitely stay tuned. So we're out of practice, session 4. Wide receivers working on some blocking drills here right in front of us. Speaking of the wide receivers, I think Mike Harley is one of these guys that definitely needs to get it going. They need to find him the ball downfield in particular. He has some catches on the year, but again, he's a guy that can stretch the field. I don't expect this to continue. I think he's got a shot. I think he has a shot in this game. Michigan State's a little bit vulnerable over the top. They showed that against Northwestern, so I think this could be a game Mike could get downfield a little bit, as well as their other receivers, Keyshawn Smith and Charleston Rambo. Taking a look at Will Mallory, another guy that they'd like to get going. I don't expect him to stay down with his production like he has been for much longer either. So we will see how these guys do in game 3. Just taking a look at the running backs here. Obviously the big news with the Don Chaney Jr. injury. There's 24, that's Cody Brown, and then 22, that's Thad Franklin. Thad's a little bit bigger than Cody. Both players highly regarded in high school. I do think Cody's got a little bit of the upper hand, at least what we saw in fall camp. Thad was kind of in and out at times. But I think either way, it's going to be interesting to see how many carries they get. Even when Don went down in the second quarter, Cam took the rest of the carries. And I do think he'll get a bulk of the load. Even though Manny Diaz did say they'd like to have a number 2 back. There's Cam right there. Just taking a look at the drills here. And that's kind of it. Those are the 3 guys they have right now. Jalen Knighton's still suspended. This is a big game for Cameron Harris. He's certainly looking to take off. Once had one of those big seasons. We saw it last year, earlier in the year. Had those big games over 130 yards. I thought he showed good signs against Appalachian State late in the game. Really gashing the defense there. I thought actually they should have stuck with the run a little bit more late in the game. Kind of went away from him at times, but I think it's a good sign in terms of momentum. Certainly the rushing game, they're looking to get it going more. So you're trying to glean some positives from last game and hopefully build on it. So there's Cam again. And that's Michael Parrott, number 41. Fullback. One of the things Rhett Lashley mentioned when he spoke to the media was just that, for a freshman running back, it's not just about running the ball. He actually feels like that's like the easiest thing for a young running back to do. But there's a lot with pass protection, and there's a lot of details with it. Back to the receivers here. I just missed a clip by Charleston Rambo. He did a really nice job of stretching out his arms high and coming down with the catch. And no defense out here, but still working on timing with these routes, working on these out patterns. More for a comebacker there, but obviously securing the catch is big. I'll be very curious to see how Derek King plays in this one. Again, he's done well with his completion percentages in the first 2 games, just not getting the ball downfield enough for various reasons. Either a little off target, some drops, maybe play calling or difficult situations in 3rd and long. Just, they'd like to get it going for sure. And as I mentioned earlier, Michigan State has shown that they can be a little vulnerable in the back end with passes over the top. Just taking a look at the linebackers here. Obviously the big news was starter Keontra Smith out for a while. Coach Diaz said he hopes to have him back after the bye week, so he's going to miss at least 3 games. Gives opportunities. Obviously Wayman Steed there at will linebacker, but Avery Huff is the one to watch. You know, many of you are curious to see how Avery's going to do. Just haven't seen him on the field a lot on defensive sets, so he's certainly going to get an opportunity this week, if not to start, but definitely to be in the rotation, so we'll see how he does. Number 9, I assume he's really looking forward to this opportunity because, you know, it's one thing to work towards, you know, trying to compete for a role, but as a player, when you know that it's essentially coming your way, you definitely can get a lot more excited going into a week. You know, big thing with Avery is just making sure he knows where to be, running in the right spot. He has good speed, length at that position. Taking a look at Corey Flagg, the other starter. He started the last 2 games at the other spot. The linebackers have their work cut out for him this one, going against Kenneth Walker. The 3rd there at running back. He's 4th in the country in rushing. And he had that big game in the opener, and they limited him to just 7 carries against Youngstown State. But still a lot of ability in that one, even though his yardage total wasn't real high. But he's a guy that hits backside runs really well. He can reverse field, has good vision, patience, kind of has a good mix of strength and speed. Basically all those things that you want in a running back. So I think he's definitely the best running back they've faced this season, and maybe possibly for the rest of the season. He looks to be the best back, but certainly we'll see how things go with the rest of their schedule. So linebackers will be big. We've talked about linebackers all the time, all off season, fall camp, first couple games, just their play, and this would be a big one there. So taking a look at Avery right there. Primarily just been a special teams player at Miami. You know, he had to sit out that first season, focus on his academics. In 2019, former 4-star recruit. And, you know, some of you are curious about Sam Brooks. Manny Diaz talked about him recently and just feels like he's, you know, still, he had a setback from his injury, his toe injury in the offseason and fall camp there. So they're just kind of want to make sure that he's right before he gets in there. But yeah, I think many of you, again, like what you saw from him in high school, and kind of the signs he showed in the bowl game there when he got his opportunity a couple years ago. If you see double numbers, what happens in game week is guys on scout team wear the jersey number of their opponents, players they're trying to emulate in certain plays and packages for either the offense or defense. So that's why you see double numbers in practice sometimes, or different numbers. Obviously there's some double number stuff going on. Just a closer look at the offense here. Smith. So again, short passes. That they're working on.
Right there! Everything else is phenomenal. Come back down. Here we go. Good job.
Again, taking a look at the running backs, Cody Brown, working on some pass patterns here. And just kind of going back to stuff I talked about in the offseason, but just speaking to his high school coach, just really feels confident, Eric Godfrey, that, Cody Brown's going to be a guy that's going to be productive whenever his time comes. Didn't expect it to be this season. And certainly not many people did. With the 3 running backs ahead of him with experience. Thad Franklin's certainly an interesting player. He's put up big numbers in South Florida in high school and definitely has big size. Listed at 230 pounds right now, making him the biggest back on the roster. So definitely it would be great if they could use him in at least a short yardage role or finding a role for him to be good at. And it feels like there hasn't been that big back since Gus Edwards was here. And obviously Gus went on to have a good career in the NFL. Sometimes I think it's just a lesson with Gus, just sometimes the bigger backs might take a little bit of time, a little bit more patience. But the key with the running backs are really any position. When you get your opportunities, you got to make the most of them. The thing that stands out with Cody is his balance, just his kind of ability to pick up yards. It's a nice drill for the running backs. Kind of working on keeping their balance but getting away. And just kind of more about the running game. It's kind of a combination of things of why it hasn't worked out just yet how they would like. But it's the offensive line. It's running backs not hitting the right holes. Obviously a good defense in Alabama makes things tough.
Nice and smooth. Get a release at the top of the numbers. Top of the numbers. Half speed, working on technique. Corners, let us restack.
So if you hear Coach Likens, they're working on stacking on this drill. It's at about a half speed. Kind of getting the ball downfield. Certainly a point of emphasis. And really for any passing game to be effective, you've got to kind of hit at all levels, not just a short game. I asked Coach Lashley about going downfield with Appalachian State with a lot of drop coverage, if he expects other teams to do that. Because he mentioned it, just like I keep talking about with Michigan State's defense, when you show something on film, and it's effective, other teams can use that either against you in different ways. And Coach Lashley said that, if it's been shown that they struggled against drop coverage, maybe other teams will do it. So they have to be better with their short yardage game and kind of avoid those 3rd and long situations. He feels like those are kind of 2 key areas that would help be successful there. He's talking about stacking after 10 yards or right around 10-yard mark. Coach Likens a very vocal coach in a lot of these drills. Really honest guys. I think you guys saw Romello Brunson, the freshman, got some reps last game. Mark Pope got a few reps. But it's really just those primary top 3 guys getting the majority of the workload there. Yeah, Unfortunately, a drop there by Charleston Rambo. Certainly the ability to get downfield. Got that, I think, a 36-yard catch last game, so good sign for him, but again, you got to build on it. And it's big in practices here. Yeah, Coach Likens, he said, everybody watch Mike Redding, so he'll show you how to do the drill. It's a good catch by D right there. Again, tracking the ball, another good one by Xavier Restrepo. You know, it's important for receivers not just to have speed, you know, route running ability, all those things, but just your catch radius is something a lot of the above level receivers talk about quite a bit. I think this is a drill that can kind of work on that. No matter where the ball is, kind of come down with it, even though, again, not a defender or token defense right now. So as you can see, we're in the final session that we get to watch here, about 40 seconds left, but I just want to show you a few more clips of the running backs. You know, as I peeled away from that last drill with the receivers making those catches, Will Mallory had a nice one, again, tracked the ball over his shoulder, so it was a good sign by him. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, but definitely thanks everybody for watching.